Yeah, I got the script. Bobby Farley sent me the script, and I loved the characters. I loved the humanity, and also love the fact that it was a community that is really underrepresented in television and film.
Right.
So I was glad to see that happening. But also Woody Harrelson, who's a friend. We worked together on a movie called The Cowboy way back in '95, I think it was. So I've known Woody for a while, and I love Woody. He's just, I mean, I love him as a human being, as an actor. It's just, he just has a great spirit, and is genuine, and he's down to earth, and he's also very talented. So I know he was going to be on the movie, and also Cheech Marin, who I almost worked on one of the Up in Smoke movies, but that didn't work out. But we did a pilot together back in the and so I've been friends with Cheat for a while. So these guys were guys I really like a lot. And when I knew they were in it, Kate Olsen I hadn't met before, but I like her work. Well, what I love about the fact that she has a way of sort of transcending her beauty. Some of these girls are so cute
Right.
but she has a way of sort of getting out of that and keeping it real. But it was also the story about this community that was it was beautiful to see that humanity, and I thought reading the script, sometimes we think that unless life looks a certain way, it doesn't have value. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Unless you can live like I live and you got some money, then your life is not worth anything. And
Right.
that's just not true. Life is life. And it showed, their humor and their humanity and just that part of the life that we don't allow ourselves to see and to credit. So it had all that going forward, and I just thought, yeah, no, I want to do this. I want to be a part of this.
Absolutely. I mean, going into it, when I first saw the trailer, and I'm like, this is from the director of There's Something About Mary, and I was like, in today's social climate, before I saw the movie, I was like, ooh, how are they going to handle this? How did either Woody, because I know he helped produce the film, or had him or either Bobby either talk to you about their approach to how they were going to do it? Because the way they did it was actually like really like refreshing.
Yeah, I think the respect for the people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it was funny, but you're not laughing at someone; you're laughing with them. And I knew just how they are as human beings that wouldn't be a factor. It wasn't somebody just doing a movie about that to make some money. Mm-hmm. And they actually want to tell the story. Also, I love when I knew how Woody works, but when I got there and saw him sort of interact with I want to say kids, and I don't mean that disrespectful. At my age, everybody kids, but the young people, who were on the team. And when we weren't filming, he'd be out, playing basketball, just hanging out with them in a way that I think was allowed everyone to feel like they were a part of the movie. It was their movie too. That doesn't always happen. A lot of times, the quote unquote stars will, they'll hang out in their own trailer and don't really connect with anybody. But and Bobby Furley I think he gets people. So that was when I saw Woody, and like I said, I saw him with the players. I knew the film was going to be great because I think that's how he just saw them. He was just, yeah, it was great.
Well, I mean, you could feel the real world chemistry like literally come through the screen when you're watching it. It actually reminded me of an old Richard Pryor movie that I used to like when I was a kid called Bustin' Loose, where takes a bunch of problem children, across country or whatever. But it's kind of reminded me of that kind of uplifting, just refreshing film. I really had a good time with it. At the film, you guys had that rivalry, and obviously it's the inciting incident of the film. How was it to shoot that? It looked like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It's I say I'm not a basketball. I watch basketball sometimes, but I'm not. Once when I was a kid, and I was really pretty good in sports, but the coaches would try to encourage me to join the team. But I grew up in Michigan, and in Michigan, it was a real attempt to separate the black kids from the other kids academically and a lot of other ways. And I knew that as a kid. And so when they would come to me about sports, I figured, you want me to do that, but you don't want me to be able to do the other things that So I kind of resisted it. Now I'm old. I realize that they probably asked me because I was actually very good at it. I should have, you know. So I never really got a lot into it. But I love what I love. I love watching sports just in the sense of, you know, seeing what the human body is capable of doing. You know, and to be a coach is not just to, you know, come up with a strategy of how we win this game, but it's also mentoring. It's also pulling the best out of people to, and so that was, that was, you know, it was great to be a part of that. But I really can't say I based it on someone that I knew, because I really never really spent a lot of time. But also to their friendship though, and not so much as sports as much as their relationships, their friendships. Having had friends, I have friends who sometimes can be their own worst enemy. You know, and you're trying to be there, you know what I mean? I gave you the job and you just, and now you're pushing me down and on TV. Come on, man. I got to let you go. But he never really completely walks away. You know what I mean? He still is trying to be there for him.
You're making this interview too easy, because that was actually one of my questions for you, man. Because like at the beginning of the film, I was like, okay, this is going to be one of those films where like he's going and the two coaches battle the whole movie. But like every time you come on screen, you have so much empathy and heart for what's going on, for his situation. Like every time I come on, like, oh, this is when he's gonna let him have it. He's gonna get his revenge. But really, like your character is really, it seems like really like, you know, no cliche, like really like the heart of the movie in a lot of different ways. Every time he comes on, you feel like the warmth. How did you approach those scenes, and how did you guys talk about it before you shot them?
Yeah, I think it's for me just in life, man. I mean, you have friends, and you kind of go, dude. I mean, I'm gonna be okay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like I should be personally hurt by what you did, but I'm good. But you just ruin your own. You know what I mean? It's you need to, and especially when you know someone is talented. And I had a director friend, probably one of the best directors I've worked with. But then he would do stuff. He would do stupid stuff that just took him out of the game. You know. And so Phil's at a point of, you know, I can't overlook this. You know, I got to let you go. But, you know, if you could just, and I think this team forces that character, Woody's character, to grow enough to be able to step into a better position. And now you hope he can make something good come of that. Sometimes you gotta, you know, live a little bit, learn a little bit before you can really embrace the thing that you say you want. Mm-hmm. And I think Phil sees that. And also it's old friends I value because they have a part of you that even you don't remember. You know, they were back with you during the time when they know that. Other people may never know that, but they know you and that part of you. So so it was really more about friendship for me, and just just not giving up on someone, even when they kind of give up on themselves. You know?
Absolutely. All right, man. So I do want to ask you, so you know, one of the most, I think, underappreciated lines in comedy history is, you know, if there's a steady check in it, I'll believe in anything. All right. I mean, at least in my community, I mean, I just might crack up over and over, no matter how many times we've seen it. Obviously, in the last film, Winston went on to get some money. It looks like he might be a billionaire. What can we be expecting next? I mean, I didn't even know you're actually shooting right now. I just thought, you know, you might be shooting to win. But what's for us?
Yeah, no, the new movie. I mean, you know, it's a fun movie, it's a fun script. Gil Keenan, who was Jason Reitman's writing and producing partner. Jason directed Afterlife, but now Gil is directing this one. And Winston is, you know, he's gone on. He's, you know, become very successful. He credits a lot of that to his time as a Ghostbuster. But he embraces it, and he takes part of his fortune to take Ghostbusting to the next level. And it's great to see him now, you know, not being just, you know, I just need a job, and you people are crazy, but hey, I signed up for it, so I'm in it, you know.
Now he's making jobs.
Yes, yeah, and so he's the guy, you know. And that's fun to I think the fans have sort of, you know, wanted that. I think the studio, I've always talked about the studio was not always, they never always felt inclusive, but Jason Reitman, I think, really tried to sort of mend that. It took a while for the studio, I think, to realize the value that Winston brings to the franchise. and not just for young Black kids, but for, for a lot of people who felt like, he's sort of Winston is Winston. So, but that to me, that's the fun part of seeing Winston and his growth and where he is in the world. I mean, it's his fortunes have changed, and but the movie it's a real fun adventure, in the true Ghostbuster vein. And to me, to be able to be there, with the old cast, and the new, and Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Annie Potts, it's just it's like homecoming. We did this thing 40 years ago, so I'll see people in their 40s come up and say it's the first movie they ever saw, and it's the first time they saw a movie with their dad, or it's all these connections, and it's really very, very cool.
Man, in the early days of Marvel kind of taking over things, I used to, when I take people to the movies, I explain, well, do you like the tone of Ghostbusters, kind of grounded with a little bit of comedy and wacky stuff happening in the background? That's kind of what you kind of expect. So you guys really set the template for what's going on. So there's this big debate about event films and how they're taking over the industry. And you've had an interesting career because you've done small, you've done TV, you've done big, you've done indies, you do it all. How do you feel about this whole event film kind of debate that's going on right now?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, the whole streaming cable, I mean, that's just blew the door open in terms of product.
Right.
I mean, it's great storytelling, but they don't have to tell it all in the movie. They got 13 episodes to tell it, and you get these series, but not like network TV where they're trying to make a series and they're trying to please everybody, for 26 episodes a season. So that really opened the door up in terms of writing. But I think you kind of need it all. I don't know what the full impact of COVID has had on us, not being able to go out, being in the theater. Is it safe to go back in? I mean, all that stuff is at play. And I think the studios will continue to make those big, those big films, action movies or whatever. But I think hopefully the door will be open for those smaller, films about relationship stories, and not just on Hallmark Christmas movies or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right. Hopefully, because I think that's kind of, we learn a lot about ourselves through movies. And if the answer is always just get a gun and go in and, shoot up everybody who's kind of coming at you, and how many, I don't know how many, bodies are by the end of, what's the Keanu Reeves movie at?
John Wick, yeah.
John Wick, yeah. How many bodies can we, but I think we learn a lot, and I'd love to see those movies still, the Champions movie. I mean, it's a story about people and relations. But I think if the studios can accept the fact that you're not going to make $1 billion on one of those movies, but you will make, you'll make money, and it's sort of needed right now in society because, man, from where I'm sitting, either I've gotten too old to make sense out of things, or the world is, of the states, man, like we're losing our minds. It's like, whoa, slow down. I'm like, whoa. So hopefully, you can't talk to people, but people will sit through a movie, and I think will sort of open themselves up to other possibilities. There are other ways to handle your anger than grabbing a gun and shooting through the door, because
absolutely.
Whatever, so.
You've danced around it in the past. I know you voiced like Lucius Fox in the superhero world. I guess before Black Panther, you kind of had to dance with the Black Panther production and that kind of stuff. Are you interested in kind of jumping into the superhero world and grabbing onto an icon?
Yeah, I don't. About 10 years ago, I stopped sort of going after jobs. Finally, I just said, you know what? I got all those movies. If you want to see what I do, you just go and rent a movie. You know what I mean? Go on IMDb. Do whatever. Do your homework.
Not hard.
But I ain't coming in there. I'm not begging for a job. If you don't know if you want to work with me, then let's not work together. But if you want to work with me, you know where to find me. And that's sort of, so I don't. Louis D'Esposito, one of the presidents of Marvel, sure. He's been a friend for a while. And I keep saying, dude, I want to, come on, man. I want to be in the Marvel universe. He said, well, we're waiting for the right thing for you. And now that's been 20 years. I'm like, so it hasn't been because I haven't wanted to, but also I'm not sitting outside somebody's office saying, please give me a job. You know what I mean? It's
like you mentioned,
I think my grandkids would love it. You know, my grandkids would be really happy to see me do something. And I would love to. You know, I did the television series, did a couple episodes of Flash.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it's, you know, I mean, if it's you know, some things I accept the fact that it may never happen, you know, at this stage in life, and I got to be okay with that. But if it does, I'd really be very, very happy.
One quick question before I let you out of here. It's kind of a personal thing. I years ago I worked on the Matrix sequels, and I used to talk to Lawrence Fishburne, and I'd tease him because at that time he had just changed his name from Larry to Lawrence. And I was like, "You're Larry, man, you Larry." And he was like, he wouldn't even really respond. He would just like laugh at me, like, "Hi, kid," you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Down to earth. You're still Ernie, man. Are you ever going to Ernest? Because I think you're Ernie forever. But I really like how grounded you are, because it feels like you're really relatable, man.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed to do what I do, man. I grew up in a little town in Michigan, one of the poorest towns in Michigan, unfortunately, and it's still struggling with a lot of issues, water among them. Right. But so to be able to do what I do, I'm in England making a movie. I mean, you know what I mean? So I got nothing but thanks. Every morning, man, I'm on my knees just thanking God. I'm 78 years old. I'm in great health, and I'm not, I'm good. But I have a son. I have 4 sons. My oldest son is Ernest. He's always been Ernest. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, I was Poochie. You know what I mean? Even the teacher called me Poochie. I was like, and then I got a job and they started calling me Ernie, which annoyed the heck out of me. But so I tried Ernest, but I have one of the early agents said Ernest is too formal. Mm-hmm. So he wanted me to go by Ernie. And so I've been Ernie. My son is Ernest, and his son is NJ. Because he's half Mexican and Ernest is Neto. So he's, so it's 4 of us now. You know, I didn't have a dad, but I got my son Ernest, I got my grandson Neto, and his son is NJ. So it's Ernest to 4. But so I'm very blessed in terms of family. Everybody's healthy. You're doing good. And any job I get, I just go. You know, I never know. You know, but I like to show up and and be on time. You know, as they say, show up and show out. And So and this new Ghostbusters, I mean, it's when I walk off the set, I like them to know why they paid me what they paid me, because this is what I do. And so
you're an icon, my man. Thank you for sharing that story too with me, because it seems silly to me, but like it's something I always thought about.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Well, some actors I work with actors. I work with Andre, and I'm not saying anything bad about Andre, but he seems like a serious. You know, I mean, we would talk. He'd be like serious, but he's like an actor. You know, come on, dude. You know, I mean, we playing here. You know, we get a chance to do this and get paid. We get to have fun, and you do that, and I'm there. Well, you know, so I don't know, man. It ain't me, you know, so it's all good.
Man, I appreciate you taking this time to sit down and talk with me, man. Hopefully we get to do this again when your next one comes out. I know you have a new movie coming out with Nick Cage very soon, so hopefully we'll be able to circle back around with that.
And Brian Cox, and there's a new one coming out with him as well. So
what's that one called?
Called The Prisoner's Daughter.
Okay.
Brian Cox and Kate Beckinsale.
So
so it should be pretty good.
All right. I mean, hopefully we'll get to do this again, my friend. And it was great talking to you.
Dude, I look forward to it. Just best of luck in everything you're doing.
I appreciate it, man. Back to you, man.